A man goes into a temple and he walks up. There is a scroll hanging from a temple. Now, I'm already like, you got to be cautious with scrolls. I mean, that's just a straight up, all the movies I've seen, man, scrolls, you got to be careful around those things. Those dangerous materials. This one is called Silk Ghost Figure in Light Colors. So, I mean, again, already like, you don't steal the scroll with a ghost title because that is the scroll that has a curse in it. So he's going to steal that scroll, run out, and be cursed forever and like horrible things. This is the beginning of a horror movie, a Japanese horror movie. Like I guarantee if I put a little effort into it, I could have gone and found a horror movie where the beginning was he stole this scroll and then was cursed and the haunted and ghosts came after him and stuff. Or the only other reason to steal a scroll is because it's part of a quest. So you have to like lift a curse or fight someone or something like that. To end something, you need this scroll to take it to fight a ghost or destroy a ghost or something. Scrolls are bad news. That's all I know. Media has taught me one thing. Scrolls are bad news. Don't mess with scrolls. Hopefully he's not in a situation where the scroll is necessary for him to lift a curse. He decided he needed this scroll more than anything else. He goes into the temple. He steals the scroll. He takes the scroll and he runs away. The chief priest runs him down and gets the scroll back. Now that in itself, like again, so in my head, that's a kung fu fight happening right there. Like the chief priest jumps up, uses some like, I don't know, ninja magic, temple magic, ancient magic, I don't know, something, flies through the air. Like there's lots of robes going, that's got to happen. And then he's like kicked to the back of the head, knocks the scroll out of his hand. He just cares about the scroll. He doesn't care about the fight. The guy's like, nah, I got to fight. There's a kung fu fight happens. That's the story in my head. What seems more realistic is like he just like grabbed him, held on to him. Someone called the cops. Cops showed up. He was arrested. He never really explained why he needed to steal the scroll. The head priest, the chief priest, said pretty cool thing. He's like, I hope people don't steal scrolls. I would prefer he just comes and looks at it and enjoys it like all the other tourists and stuff because it's free. So clearly the only reason he could steal it is because of a curse, and that man is now doomed to go to hell. Our minister of farming last week, this is an update to last week's story. Last week, he made a comment that he had so many supporters and so much love, and people loved him so much, and he was so great, and everyone thought he was awesome. He's never had to buy rice. Rice prices in Japan are hitting an all-time high. So that's maybe a tad insensitive thing to say. You don't, as the guy responsible for rice and rice prices sort of related, you don't go around talking about how I get all my rice for free. You peons, you little people, you have to pay for your rice. Sucks for you. Now, again, he was saying this to another bunch of rich people, and they all thought it was like, ha, 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 funny. But then, of course, the comment gets out. Then he goes out, he's like, I went on social media. That's when I realized how angry people were. It's kind of, I don't get it. Like, why is everyone so upset that I'm getting my rice for free because I'm so awesome? He checked social media and realized how infuriated people were. That was May 20th. There was another sort of side bit. He actually, in his apology, the order's out already, he had to apologize. And in his apology, he said that his wife had already admonished him. And this was something that I had heard before, but it never connected. It never clicked to me. And what he's doing is diminishing the importance of the actual outrage that he's feeling. He's like, my wife has already complained that I'm a piece of shit. That should be enough. And it's also like the henpecked husband kind of stereotype. And like, I'm getting this at home and it's my life is so hard. And it's actually diminishing the complaint that people have en masse, which I didn't realize until I read another article that was pointing out this is sort of a trope at this point. They talk about it being Showa era. These people who kind of were raised in that period adopt this attitude, and this is part of their apologies, which makes it feel less sincere to Japanese people now. But coming from outside the culture, I didn't know that element of it. So reading about it was very interesting because I expect there will still be a few apologies and they go, wow, I went home, my wife told me off. Man, I'm really hard done by. I didn't know that was like a stereotype or a thing, but it actually takes away from the sincerity of the apology. So his apology wasn't even sincere when he was doing it, which I, again, as a not Japanese person, didn't realize when I was reading the apology stuff. He checked social media. He realized how infuriated people were. He apologizes. And then on May 21st, he quits. Now, he was going to get fired. The prime minister was going to tell him to step down. He was trying to keep everything in place. The problem is that the ruling party right now, their approval rating's really low. So he's like, a scandal of any type is going to sink us. Here's a short message to Americans. Imagine a politician making a joke about rice prices or never paying for rice and actually losing his job because it is deemed as irresponsible for the politician. Just imagine that world. That could be your world if you had held people accountable for the things they say. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm not taking a political stance, but it shows sort of the difference in the different systems where in Japan, an offhanded comment can get you to the point where you lose your position in power because of the scandal, because people are angry at you. The same day, May 21st, a new minister is named. You gotta have a minister of farming. So one gets fired, you gotta bring another one in. They choose the former Prime Minister Koizumi's son, who is not like, it's not just like his first job. He's actually been Minister of the Environment, which leads up to the joke that actually happened on the internet when he was chosen. The minister Koizumi is famous for introducing the 2 yen price for plastic bags at convenience stores. So if you get a bag at a convenience store, you have to pay at least 2 yen. A lot of places have a small bag is 2 yen, big bag is 5 yen, that kind of stuff. Pretty sensible thing for the Minister of the Environment to introduce, because the Minister of Environment is trying to reduce the amount of plastic people use. So he wants to encourage people to bring their own bags. So you charge for the plastic bags. As soon as this guy was announced, Koizumi was announced as the new farming minister, a trending joke happened in Japan. And it was charge for rice bags started to trend. So everyone started saying like, oh, great, this guy's in charge of rice. Now I'm going to have to pay 2 yen for the bag the rice comes in. That started trending almost immediately because the entire country started making the same joke. Some would say this is a good move. Some would say it's not, because he was showing, again, he was taking his job seriously as the minister in the environment. But at the same time, it's another rich dude. In Japan, politics is a legacy game. So it's families have politicians and their kids go into politics and they get into these roles and they do this. Like, there's probably an expectation that this guy, because he was the son of the previous prime minister, he's going to aim to be prime minister someday. It's like a form of nepotism, but yeah, it's like a family job. And that's a very Japanese thing to do, is have just like family jobs. I don't know how I feel about this guy. Hopefully he does try to take this seriously. He's actually said his goal is to get a 5-kilogram bag of rice from the government priced at 2,000 yen, which should impact the price of all the other rice. So if you can get government rice at 2,000 yen, foreign rice should be around 2,000 yen. Other Japanese rice should be around 2,000 yen. So he's got like a clear number in his head that he's put out there that he wants to aim for, and they're releasing the government rice. So I don't know if he's doing it or the other guy did it and just was like, shouldn't have said the thing he said. It just shows how seriously people take statements that Japanese politicians make, which again, I think could be a model in some other countries. This is from the Discord. There is the Chunk Beef Chest Discord, which is open for anyone to join. If you would like to find the link, you can go to linktree/Chunk McBeefchest, and you'll find a link to the Discord where you can join. It's still in its early stages. You'll find a lot of my stuff there, but then people are now starting to drop in stories for me to check out, which I really appreciate. I really just want people to know that, any efforts into this podcast, I want to pay those back tenfold and make sure they get the attention they deserve, or at least we could just interact. I do want to bring guests back on. I want to bring quizzes back on. I've just, honestly, last couple months, really hard to organize anything. There is a manga from back in 1999 that predicted the 2011 Fukushima disaster, the earthquake. Not the actual specifics of the disaster, but it said there's going to be an earthquake in that month, in March in 2011. I do have a problem. I don't really believe in predictions and stuff. I had my palm read before I came to Japan because I was going to leave. Now, I didn't give the lady any hints. So she read my palm. She said, you're going to work with your hands. I do not work with my hands. She said, you're going to move west. I moved east. I mean, it was almost as if she was 100% correct in the wrong way. So if she had just said the opposite of everything she said, it would have all been kind of right. So that's one of those things where either she did her cold reading completely wrong, or she just like her assessment of me was completely wrong. So all her predictions were wrong. I enjoy predictions. I don't believe them. So I'll read a horoscope if one comes up conveniently. I will do some palm reading if it's easy. I don't take it very seriously. I had my palm read when I was in Korea, and she said, I'm going to die when I'm 72. And I looked at her and I went, is it going to hurt? And then she went, I started laughing. It was like super old lady. She's dead now. And she started laughing. She goes like, I can't tell that. And actually that gave a little more credence to her prediction by saying like, this is what I can predict. This is what I can't predict. I kind of took it almost a little more seriously. And that might be why that prediction sort of stuck in my head. So in my head, when I hit 70, I'm going to start doing drugs, just all the drugs I want, because I'm going to be dead by 72. So I'm not like wasting my life or using my body by doing drugs. Probably end up on Ninja News Japan. Anyways, in 1999, there was a manga release called The Future I Saw. And this was, the author was having dreams, prevelatory dreams. Did I just make up a word? Premonitory? Prevelatory. Predictive dreams is the word I probably should have used. I just went through a whole new English phase just there. And in that, she started making a story about a character who has predictive dreams. And in her predictive dreams, she's trying to deal with like, do I take this seriously? Is this real? Do I tell anybody? Sort of the real things that would happen if you had predictive dreams and the things you dream actually started to come true. One of those was in March 2011, there's going to be a disaster. She updated it and she said the real disaster will come in July 2025. Next month, in 2 months from the release of this podcast, there's going to be the real disaster, making, I guess, Fukushima seem like it wasn't the real disaster. It's not super specific, but it sells books. So in the book, she claims that the South Sea of Japan will boil, causing a mega tsunami. So she's talking about there's going to be an underwater fault. It will open up, and that sort of that lava, that stuff from inside is going to boil the water, but it's going to be so violent, it's going to cause another tsunami. It's going to be 3 times stronger than the Tohoku earthquake. Now, I don't think that's how earthquakes work. I don't think they can predict it. Scientists don't have the level of technology where they can actually predict earthquakes, but people do take it seriously. So some people have started canceling their plans to come to Japan, mostly tourists from China and Hong Kong. They have access to this manga. They take what is said in this manga seriously because it successfully predicted that there would be an event in 2011. They're also taking it seriously that there's going to be an event in 2025. So they're canceling their trips. And because of that, it actually was reported on the news, which is probably how most of those people seen it. But in Vietnam and Thailand, social media has picked this up and they've started spreading it around. So tourists from Vietnam and Thailand have started canceling their trips to Japan. So people are staying away. The actual social media message in Thailand and Vietnam at this time is to stay away from Japan in July 2025. So it's actually having a real world effect. It'll be very interesting to see if anything actually happens in July 2025, because predictions are great. Like I could sit here and just do like a thing where I make a ton of predictions and one of those is right. Everyone's going to take it really seriously, even though like all the other predictions that I made that didn't happen are right. Like I could be like, there's going to be an earthquake in this month. There's going to be an earthquake in this year. And people will be like, ooh, if one of those things happen, they'll start taking the other stuff really seriously. When I came to Japan, it was 2001, and I joined the company and they had like a all staff meeting. And in the all staff meeting, this old guy comes up, he goes, there's been an earthquake in Osaka. There's been an earthquake in Tokyo. That means the next earthquake is going to happen in Nagoya, which is not how fault lines work. It's not how earthquakes work. They don't do like a tour of different regions. They don't like do it evenly. You could have 20 earthquakes in Tokyo and 0 earthquakes in Nagoya. I think the percentage of an earthquake in Nagoya happening maybe would go up over time because it hasn't had an earthquake, but it's not going to do like an equitable system to make sure that every region gets hit equally. So I was like, that seems really weird. And I was sitting at the back of the room. I didn't know how these things were run. I was sitting in front of the windows. And then he says, all you people sitting in the back by the windows, you're all dead, because I guess the windows shatter and like cut all our heads off or something. But then my first thought to that was, why did you put chairs here then? Like, why did you put chairs in a place where people, if there is an earthquake, are all going to die? That seems like really irresponsible of you, the leader of this actual sort of safety seminar you're giving, which was actually just like a whole bunch of scare tactics. It was not honestly a very pleasant way to be introduced to Japan. This story actually also came from the Discord servers, so thank you for posting in the Discord server. A 49-year-old man was arrested for coercion of an electronics store clerk. So what happens? So he goes and buys hair clippers. Now, I have hair clippers. I just shave my head down really short. I sometimes use them on my beard. He calls and says, these clippers aren't working. I'm really angry about it. And you sold me these clippers. So I need you to bring me a replacement set of clippers. And the clerk, being a Japanese guy who's really like takes customer service really seriously, he goes, yeah, okay, I'm going to get a new set of clippers. I'm going to bring them to your house and we'll swap them out. And then you don't even have to do anything. You can just like get back to shaving your head or whatever you were doing. So that sort of shows the level of customer service this guy was getting because of his complaint. The clerk shows up at his house and this guy, the customer, starts showing him his tattoos to show him that he is part of the Yakuza. So he's a really scary guy. So you better do what I say or I might even like beat you up or kill you. That's actually the implication. If I started like ripping my shirt off and showing you my tattoos, the message is pretty clear. I'm part of the mafia. You better do what I say, keep me satisfied, or this is going to end badly for you. The guy had already brought the new clippers to his house. So I don't know what kind of thing he actually wanted from the guy. So what he does is says, I want the traditional Japanese apology. So you got to get down on your knees. And then that's suddenly not enough, probably because the guy was going to do it. So the guy says, let's prove that these clippers work. And you shave your head, because a very traditional way of apologizing in Japan is to shave your head. There was actually an idol really early on in the Ninja News Japan days. She had a boyfriend, and a lot of the contracts and sort of the understanding is that idols in these groups like AKB47, they don't get boyfriends. They stay pure. They don't have sex. It's actually written into their contracts that they won't date. So she had broken this rule, this rule that she would keep herself pure for her fans. So to apologize for having gone on a date, she shaved her head and then she went on to the internet to apologize to her fans. So this is like a long-standing Japanese thing. It's just kind of unnecessary. It's supposed to show your contrition to your audience or the fans or whatever. So he's taken on this like, oh, this guy's actually scared of me. He's going to do what I say. So he says, I want you to shave your head. So he shaves the right side of his head, and then the guy, I guess, was satisfied. He cleans up his hair and then he goes back to the store and immediately calls the police, because what had just happened was called coercion. So the guy threatened him, told him he had to do a thing, coerced him into doing it, calls the police. This guy's arrested. The original clippers that he was complaining about, when police picked them up, found out that they actually worked. So this whole thing didn't need to happen. I'm betting he thought they were either battery powered or rechargeable or something, and he hadn't plugged them in or hadn't charged them, and so they didn't work. But when the police tried them out, the original clippers actually worked. So this whole thing was completely unnecessary. This guy's going to jail. They refer to him in the newspapers as unemployed. Now, there's two possibilities here. One, he's got really scary tattoos and he's not part of the Yakuza, because Yakuza mafia members actually have to register themselves with the police, which is, I find, mind-bogglingly weird, but it is part of the process. So if you are a Yakuza or mafia member, you're going to be registered with the police, and that's how they're going to refer to you in the newspaper. The newspaper didn't refer to him as a mafia member. They referred to him as unemployed, which would imply that he's not registered. But he could still be a criminal, an unregistered one, which to me makes a lot of sense, and then be one of these sort of newer dark groups that aren't as organized. So he is a criminal, but he's not a member of a criminal organization as the traditional idea of having all your Yakuza tattoos. He's more sort of one of these new loose groups that sort of change and meld, and different members come and go over time as they do different crimes. But it seems like he's not maybe the mafia member he was making himself out to be in the original sort of threat of showing off his tattoos. A 42-year-old Chinese exchange student was stalking a woman named Haruna Kojima, who is also an idol. She's a former idol. I think she was in AKB48. And then she went solo, so she was still really popular. She was in Shibuya, and this guy managed to stalk her and track her down. He grabbed her arm and she fell down. And that is assault. That was back in October 2024. His court case is ongoing now. So we know why he did it. And was he threatening her? Was he attacking her? What kind of stalking was this? In court, he stated, "I loved her and wanted to see her every day. When I saw her, I got excited and grabbed her arm, thinking I would confess my feelings." He had already been warned to stay away from her. So he said, "I thought it was a misunderstanding. I believed if I told her my feelings directly, she might give me a chance." And that is the weird, scary parasocial thing that's going on the internet right now. So this actually happened last year in October. But now we're seeing he's giving the idea like, I thought I had a relationship with her. I thought I had confessed to her. This is a 42-year-old man. Like, she's only in her late 20s, early 30s. She may very well not be interested in this age gap. She doesn't know him, so she's not going to have any feelings for him. This is one of the weird things of the one-sided internet version of parasocial relationships. When I came to Japan, worked for like a little website, and I did an interview with a cosplayer. And then, of course, I naturally started following her. And then after a while, I got all these like insights, and she kind of would like knew my name if she like streamed and I would like type something in. She'd be like, "Hey, buddy." And then I felt like I was more close to her than I was. And she had no idea who I was. She did that interview, forgot who I was, and moved on with her life. Saw that this name that showed up in her streams and stuff was regular. So she started to remember the name. If I met her on the street, she'd be absolutely terrified. Like, "Who's this guy?" And I'm like, "I know you. We have a connection." It was really quick for me to like take a moment and go, "She doesn't know who I am. She doesn't know anything about me. We're not friends." And I had to like remind myself of that. So I didn't like go to the depths these other guys are doing, because I didn't allow myself to, because I had that reality check available in my conscious mind. These guys don't have that filter or that step. And that's where these kind of like, I believe that if I confess to her, she will love me back, things happen. It's actually really terrifying, because we've had a bunch of stories in America of streamers who are like going out and people are like chasing them and following them down and like honestly getting angry that they're not reciprocating their feelings. It's actually one of the scariest parts. Luckily, I don't have to worry about any of this. TikTok prankster. I could honestly just end the story there. You could fill in the blanks and probably be fairly accurate. It's just the specifics of how he was being an asshole is actually the story. But the fact that he was an asshole to someone who didn't deserve it is so common now. I don't actually feel the need to say anything more. May 19th, he goes to a gas station, and he goes to the gas station attendant. He says, "I don't know how to like unlock the cap of my car to get the gas in. Can you show me how to do it or do it for me?" He gets the girl, the gas station attendant, to get in his car, and then he locks the doors. Now, I don't know if there was some sort of mechanism he had in so that he could keep her in there. He managed to keep her in the car for 2 minutes straight. So just enough time to be absolutely terrified that, you know, something really bad is about to happen to you. 2 minutes locked in someone else's car has to feel like forever. Like, that's just the honest to goodness truth, that this woman was probably absolutely terrified that she was going to be taken away and killed. He started recording, so kept her in. He started making like jokes and like, "Haha, you're like locked in my car," that kind of bullshit. He was arrested because this is not kidnapping, but confining someone. I guess confining someone is a form of kidnapping. Like, not allowing their freedom of movement is a form of kidnapping, because there have been stories that I've done in the past where it was like, you're working in a company and then they lock the door and they tell you you're not allowed to leave. That falls under kidnapping laws. So if that ever happens to you, like you're ever in a situation where like someone is keeping you from leaving, that's kidnapping. That's the law it falls under in Japan anyways. I guess it's like confinement, that kind of situation. But he was arrested, and he said he did not intend to confine the woman, despite the fact he's the one who locked the door that kept her in the car, which is absolutely means he confined her in that car on purpose. And I just hope these guys start getting punished enough that it's enough to actually scare other people away from doing the same bullshit, because this is so tiring. Man walks into a temple. There's lots of temples all over Japan. Beautiful places, great places. I don't know. I'm not a tourist guy. Go fuck yourself. That's not how to start. Okay.